So today is a very exciting one because it is the day before our heat pump installation starts. After 18 months of research, questions asked and answered on Facebook forums, and some excellent videos online from Heat Geek and many others, we finally pushed the button and commenced the installation of our heat pump. And it's going to go here in our back garden, where tomorrow local Heat Geek will be starting the process of installing the base and maybe some electrical work, and we're getting rolling. What we're having is a Valent Aerotherm Plus 7 kilowatt heat pump, which is going to go here where I've laid out these stones. So we have a 5-bedroom detached home. We have a small family, and we've been working towards a heat pump installation for some time. So about 18 months ago, we installed some solar panels and a battery, and over the last year, our figures suggest that those panels have provided us with all of the electricity that we've needed for our home. So that's pretty good. We had a new hot water tank installed, and that's a Mixergy tank, which has got a solar diverter. And the diverter harvests spare electricity from the solar panels and uses that to heat our hot water. And that's performed brilliantly over the year, and we're very pleased with the Mixergy tank. So we're keeping that, and we are doing what Mixergy say we can do, which is adding on the heat pump module. That will allow us to use the heat pump to heat the hot water. This is our gas boiler, which is on borrowed time. It is soon to be removed. The installer will take this out and cap it off, and then our home will be entirely electric. There's no other gas appliances in our house aside from this. And once this is gone, we then have the option of removing the gas meter and saving money on the standing charge for gas each year. I suspect we will probably wait 6-9 months, give it time for the heat pump to prove itself, and then we will actually have Octopus come in and remove the gas meter. Also here in the garage is our solar system. We have a 5 kilowatt Lux Power inverter, and that's paired with a small battery solution. So this is a 6.4 kilowatt Greenlinks battery, and there are probably 7.5 kilowatts of solar panels on the roof in a 50-50 east-west split. 10 panels on one side, 10 panels on the other, because the centre line of this house runs north-south. We get a very even split between the panels. The solar solution has been in since it's been in for 18 months and has performed very well. It produces pretty much all of our electricity, which is fantastic. The idea is that we will simply let the heat pump do its thing. So we'll run it as advised, 24/7. Whenever it needs to run, it'll run, and the battery system and the solar panels will just have to take care of themselves. We're on Octopus Agile, which, as you may know, is a variable tariff. It varies quite a lot sometimes. Overnight it can be in the order of a few pence, but during the evening peak, that's from 4 till 7 o'clock, it can be up in the 35-45 pence range. So the job of our battery system really is to provide power during the peak, such that we don't have to buy any electricity from the grid during that very expensive time. Well, it may be sunny here, but it's still the end of November, so let's step inside and see what other things we've done in the house to facilitate the installation of a heat pump. Well, it's nice to be back inside, that's for sure. So we're here in our kitchen, and as part of our renewables journey, we've already upgraded quite a number of our radiators to double panels and wider ones, taller ones, to facilitate initially turning the flow temperature down on the boiler. Unfortunately, it's a bit of an old boiler, and it won't allow the temperature to come down to a point where it will both heat the water appropriately in the tank and run the radiators. And there's no distinction between when it's doing hot water and when it's doing the radiators. So we have one temperature, and it's already pretty far down, as low as it will go for the most part. So we've been replacing radiators with ones that are appropriate for each room, and as you may be aware, that's really key. When you're considering the installation of a heat pump, one of the very first things that you need to do is to get a heat loss survey carried out of your property. This is where a qualified heat pump expert will visit and survey the building, the installation, and will provide you with a design for the heating system and a specification for the heat pump, and importantly, specification for the radiators. And when the heat pump installation happens, you'll find that a number of radiators will need to be replaced for ones that are appropriate for the size of the room, the insulation that you have, and the designed flow temperature for the system. And the design flow temperature that we have here is going to be 45 degrees. So these radiators will run at 45 degrees. And in order to heat a room appropriately, then they need to be appropriately sized. So this one is a very nice radiator that was installed as part of the upgrade to our kitchen here, but it is not big enough to run at the lower flow temperature. As at 60 degrees or 70 degrees or whatever the water is coming from our conventional boiler, perfectly fine. Heats this room beautifully. You can feel the heat coming off it. However, 45 degrees, it's not going to cut it. So this one will be replaced by the same version, but a double one with all the fins. And there you go. You'll find that that mostly these upgrades are around either replacing old single panel radiators with double ones that have got the fins inside, and that will normally do it. Sometimes they need to be a bit wider, sometimes a bit taller, and the thing to bear in mind is that the larger the radiators in your property, in your rooms, the lower the flow temperature, and that means that the installation as a whole will be more efficient. And of course, that pays back over the decades-long lifetime of the solution. So, so I think it's always worth investing in great radiators and upgrading them and increasing the size if necessary to achieve the goal of more efficiency. So this one will be replaced. We have a radiator in my office that needs to be replaced, a small one, and in our master bedroom we already have quite a large double panel radiator, but the numbers say that is not enough. And one of the key things I think here is you have to trust your installer, trust the survey. And if the installer says that radiator is not going to cut it, then you have to address that. Otherwise, you'll end up with a system that doesn't perform well, and you'll end up with a cold room. No one wants that. You want the system to perform well. Everyone in the household is happy, and the system runs at a very efficient performance. So listen to your installer. Now, you can't have a video about heat pumps without seeing someone's airing cupboard. So this is our airing cupboard, and you can see here that this is our hot water tank. This one is a Mixergy tank, and we are presently using it with a mixture of the traditional boiler and also the solar diverter is fitted here, which takes the spare energy from the solar panels and uses that to heat our hot water on sunny days. However, we will be decommissioning the boiler and adding to this tank the heat pump module. Now, Mixergy provide connectors already for the heat pumps, and they provide a module that attaches here that is used to heat the hot water using the hot water that comes from the heat pump. Now, generally speaking, the hot water that comes from a heat pump is at a lower temperature than a gas boiler, so they need to be. So Mixergy use technology that helps mitigate that, and they have chosen to use a plate heat exchanger, which is a device that will very efficiently move the heat from the water that's coming from the heat pump and transfer it into the tank. And it remains to be seen then if we continue to use the solar diverter. According to the maths, it is much better to use the electricity coming from your solar panels, run that as it were through the heat pump, and use that to heat the heat your hot water, because the electricity coming from the diverter goes straight into an immersion, and that is at 100% efficiency, whereas the electricity going to a heat pump is used at probably 300 to 400% efficiency to create hot water that can be used to heat the tank. So it remains to be seen whether we will continue to use the diverter, but nevertheless, it served its purpose beautifully and works very, very well indeed. So a lot of this pipework will be replaced. We've got an internal pump here for the central heating, and a variety of valves and what have you will be replaced with high volume ones. So most of the work that the plumbers will do and the electricians will be here in this cupboard. They will be running a new flow and return pipe from the heat pump to here, and then various valves and controllers and what have you will either send that to the radiators or into the Mixergy for hot water. And we're hoping that the Mixergy will perform very well. This isn't the largest Mixergy tank in the world by any means, but it should cover our requirements very nicely. And I'm perhaps expecting to heat the hot water overnight, so we're ready for showers in the morning, and then perhaps again in the afternoon to make sure that we're ready for any baths, a bath that our little lad might have in the evening, or any showers that are required after the gym. So we'll see how we get on with that, and again I'll report back on how that goes. The Mixergy is has a machine learning algorithm in it, which has served us very well with the solar panels and the boiler. This is where you simply don't set a timer for the hot water. You let the Mixergy learn the hot water usage of our household, and it heats the water appropriately. So you can see here on the gauge that presently we only have about maybe 25% or a third of the tank heated, and that will do certainly for our use during today. And then into the evening, it will probably maybe get a bit of excess solar or find a bit of cheap electricity on Agile, and then we'll heat the tank a little so that we're ready for bath time tonight and for some hot water in the sink for the washing up and other things like that. And so we'll go into the night probably with very little hot water in here, and then it will heat again overnight, either from the boiler or any cheap electricity that comes by from Agile. So hopefully this will be the center of everything. We have the open energy monitor gear will go in here. It will monitor the performance of the heat pump, the amount of hot water and the various temperatures of the water going backwards and forwards to the heat pump, and from that it will figure out our COP, our coefficient of performance for the system as a whole. And again, we'll be looking to report that back to the public on the open what's it called, the heat pump monitor site. And it's our intention to run the heat pump, run the solution as a whole for our best advantage in terms of cost and comfort, rather than chasing SCOP. We may do that a little bit. Who knows? We'll try our best to run it well, but for the most part, it comes down to us having a warm house, plenty of hot water, and fulfilling our needs as a family. Now, towel rails seem to be a topic of conversation on heat pump forums, and we were wondering whether we had to upgrade these older towel rails in our bathrooms in order to run in order to facilitate the heat pump. And I posted photos of these on the forum and asked what people were doing with their towel rails. Some people electrify them, others replace them with great big radiators. So, but the general advice from people was to simply leave them. The thinking is that because the heat pump is on for longer during the day, that the heat that's output from these, although not as great as a radiator, is enough to keep the room warm and dry your towels. So for now, we are leaving these in place and seeing how we get on. As you know, these things really are about drying towels and not so much about heating rooms. But these are bathrooms; they're pretty small. We should be able to cope okay with a slow and low heating methodology, but we will see. And again, I'll report back on how that performs. If these do need to be replaced, then fine. That's something that we'll address a little further down the road. But presently we have, 4 bathrooms or toilets that have got these installed, and we're leaving them in place. And I guess we will see how we go. So in conclusion, we're excited by the impending heat pump installation, and I'd like to think that our house is sort of heat pump ready. So we've got the mixergy tank, we've upgraded some radiators, we've got solar panels, we've got batteries. So the whole process should be, let's say, relatively simple. And we are working with our local heat geek, whose name is Darren Russell from the Smart Boiler Company near where we are in Walsall. And I liked an awful lot what Adam and the Heat Geek team had to say about heat pumps and low carbon heating, and they seem to talk a lot of sense. So we've bought into that, and we are hoping to have a nice, clean, open loop solution with no hydraulic separation, no volumizers, no additional pumps. It's just going to be the heat pump and our system here, and hopefully that will deliver the efficiencies that we're looking for. One of the things that occurs to me is that any heating system that you install is going to be with you for 20 years or more. So if we can extract value, extract efficiency from the installation, with big radiators and preparation and good design, then that will result in a solution that pays back handsomely over the decades that it's in play. So, we're trying to do our best with this piece of work, and hopefully that will deliver the efficiencies that we require. So over the next few days, as Darren and his team are here, I will document the progress and show you what's happening, and you can see what a Heat Geek installation looks like. So we will speak again tomorrow.